Yes, and it's like, well, what? I mean, you can't sit there and being able to say that it's red when it's actually blue. I mean, you can't sit there and tell me that it's this way when it's not. I mean, trying to be able to discredit somebody because of the way they look, I said that's prejudice. I mean, to be able to say that you put every white person or every black person or every Jewish person or every all in one, no. Every person's an individual person, no matter what their color of their skin, no matter what their religion is. We have went to hundreds of different countries and ended up being able to basically pit race or religion against each other and then selling arms to both sides over and over again. And then we ended up taking all their natural resources. And you're wondering why they hate Americans? Well, because we're bullies. We went over there and ended up taking force to be able to go into their country under the pretense that we're doing good for their country and that we're going to take away their family values and what their beliefs is. If you believe that your wife needs to wear and be clothed and that she needs to be submissive and or that's your religion or that's your faith, who am I to go over to his house and being able to tell him how to change how he's going to end up being able to dictate to his wife? Now it's different when he's beating on her and but that's up to them. That's part of their religion, part of their way of life. And we're going to go over there and try to be able to change those things. And
Well,
we wonder why we have terrorists. We
to
wonder,
your
I don't know
point,
about you, somebody comes and blows up my where I work or my house. I'm gonna freak. I want to go. I'm gonna go do something. You know.
but to your point on that note exactly, which what you just led me into a perfect segue that I probably wouldn't have even touched on. But we do go over and we do provide arms to both sides. Then the aftermath, the hindsight of that is that those guns end up being resold back into our black market. That's where our criminals get the guns from, and then they want to punish actual law-abiding
Fighting
citizens who have guns. And you're like, you're making it harder for us when you're making it easier for the
easy for
criminals to
them.
get a gun.
Yes.
So that's the wildest part is that when you look at the
Okay.
cartels, and when you look at ISIS and ISIL, they're all using American weapons,
Guns.
American
Yes. We
tanks,
we armed them. We trained them. We
and they're the
killed
ones
them.
that are selling it back to us. And
Yes.
so, explain to me why, one, that's supposed to work, and why, two, the law-abiding citizen is the one that gets punished during this.
Well, the thing is it's just like being able to do a mass shooting or being able to, have a school shooting. The thing is if you end up creating that situation, then you end up being able to get people to be able to say, please, please protect us, that we need this. We want all these guns taken away. We want you to be able to save us. That we're so pitiful. And it's like, no, it's a ploy. The thing is no, you keep your guns. You keep the gun that your dad gave you, that your great grandfather left you. The thing is we're so armed here in the United States that they're not going to end up doing a ground offensive. Right now, they're doing it through the back door. They're doing it like being able to create this incident so that way then you're up in arms. It's not the gun that kills people. It's people that kill people. The thing is it's just like a pit bull. It's not the pit bull's fault. It's the owner of that pit bull that ended up training that pit bull and they got a bad rap. And the thing is, you can't say that people are like that. Every person, depending on how their life is and day in and day out, ends up, yes, molding them of what type of a person they are. But they still have a choice to
Right.
decide if they're a good person or a bad person. And saying that all what they're doing is pitting and using these tactics that they've used so many different times. And they're using it right here in the United States of America on Americans. We're end up being able to make it so that way you end up not that you're going to raise the gas price, that you're going to raise this, and it's going to break down on your infrastructure and your delivery ability to be able to have it shipped because now it's these guys that drive truck they end up having to go out and being able to get a truck that has diff on it and they can't use their older truck that they already just finally paid off. Now you got to get a different truck and now they're out of business and or now they're paying $6 a freaking gallon, which that before they were paying 3 for diesel. They're paying double the amount. They have to be able to charge more to be able to move that freight from point A to point B. So this is done purposely. This is done on purpose, and we're just sitting back and watching. We're just sitting and allowing. But if the Americans stood up, not even just Americans, just human beings stood up and ended up being able to stop playing their game, and you end up, because we hold all the cards. If we didn't end up buying their gas, if we didn't end up being able to purchase their stuff at their stores, then they couldn't have a place to sell it. And the thing is then they go bankrupt. I mean, just one day. I mean, we've seen these boycotts before. You're blocking a bridge, but boycott the situation. You end up being able to send it out, but with our media, where you're supposed to be able to go ahead and talk to millions of people at one time, and being able to, but then they end up not putting it out there. The media does not end up being able to help the situation. They're not telling you the truth. They're repeating the same lies over and over and over again. I mean, even when they're telling the weather, they every half hour it goes right back, and the guy's basically saying the same thing again. Well, I already saw that one, and then I turn it on later on in the evening. It's the same clips, it's the same subject, it's the same everything. It's like just like a recording. Yes, it's a different day. You could tell that they end up changing the background, but it's still the same, just blah. I mean, they're not giving you the information and or how to be able to make a difference within our community or within our lives. Um, and it's really about people really starting to have integrity, voicing their opinion, doing it in a responsible way by getting on here, by talking to their friends and family, getting them to understand that everything they're doing right now, they've done it before in many other countries, but they're doing those same tactics right here in the United States. And we're in California. They end up passing the laws here first. Uh, California was one of the first to be able to legalize marijuana, to be able to make it for medical purposes, and then we ended up being able to do it for general purposes. But then it ended up being able to go from one state to another state like wildfire. We were the first to be able to because we have a massive amount of people here. And when you end up having a mass amount of people stand up and say no, they tend to listen. And so, I mean, as you can see, I'm on fire. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a happy camper. Working all of my life. I have 10 more years before hopefully I can retire. Yes, I do go on trips, but I would like to get to the point within the next 10 years that I can end up being able to enjoy and not having to get up and go and work 8 and 10 hours every freaking day. But as of right now, it doesn't look hopeful to me. And it can't look very hopeful to others. People that are struggling, they can't even get a job. We don't manufacture anything here. We don't have great jobs here. I mean, I don't see uh if today was my day to be able to go and see my father, which is God, I'd be okay with it because it has been a grind. It has been a process to be able to be here on this planet. And I've never gotten anything given to me. I have worked hard all of my life, and I ended up being able to. I don't even remember winning free dinners. My wife, on the other hand, she can go down and freaking wins all day long. But for me, no, I get up, I put on my boots, and I go to work, and I apply myself. But to say that I'm going to still do that after 67 years old, holy smokes! 10 more years. So,
Well,
I mean, watch. Go ahead. Sorry.
so what I was going to say to your point there is that it for the most part, I believe that the country follows suit with California. And for a majority of my life, that's kind of been okay. But what worries me and why I do like having you on right now to get this inside perspective is the fact that if we're looking at the things that are happening today, and if
If
we're
you
looking
follow
at
suit, what's going on in California, it's a shit in a handbasket.
we're
I mean,
looking at I don't see a Republican strong enough to face off against Gavin Newsom. I just don't. There's still 4 years for that to change, but I just don't see that. He's been in the making for the past 12 years, and he probably could have run right now and probably could have won, but the politician that he is, he says, no, I'm going to support Biden. I'm going to wait for my time, and I'm going to win in a fucking landslide in 28.
Hopefully, everybody ends up being able to see through those smoke and mirrors because the guy is phony.
But if they
He's
don't,
not helping. If you base it just on the last 4 years or the last 8 years here in California, Jason, if you look at the track record here in California, the thing is we ended up having Xi Jinping come from China to San Francisco. They ended up cleaning up every one of those streets.
over the weekend.
Ended up over the weekend. Ended up being able to displace all those homeless people, took away all their personal belongings, threw it all in the garbage. And then forcing these people, those are internment camps when you end up going in. If you don't want to go into this space and you're forced in, I don't know about you, but that's like an internment camp. I mean, what'd you do with all these people? How much money did you have to end up paying them? Because I talked to a few of them. They didn't get paid. They ended up losing all their shit, and they were taken away from where they were at that point. And the thing is some of them had to go into the shelters just for this political person to be able to come. And the thing is, you go back and it's right back to the same thing. If you can be able to do that and clean up all that within a 3-day period for this dignitary to be able to come to our country, then you need to be able to do it. The good thing is that they are taking a lot of our older hotels, some of our older apartments, and they are end up changing them over. So that way we are taking some of our homeless and being able to and here pretty quick, it's going to be warehouses. And I don't know about you, but those are internments. Those are places where you end up having to be able to go through this guideline and this rule and this, and it takes away your humanity again. The thing is, this is all purposeful. This is not a conspiracy theory. These are facts that are happening right before our eyes, and most people don't want to talk about it.